Hello everyone, and welcome to our What's Going On or What's Happened in Columbia County in 2021. I'm Scott Johnson, your county manager here in Columbia County, and joined today by John Luton, our Director of Community Services in Columbia County, in our beautiful new Performing Arts Center. And if you haven't had the opportunity to visit the Performing Arts Center, you're really missing out on a treat. I'm sure John's going to talk about that. But John, welcome and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate having me.
Absolutely. So let's just kind of get into it. Just talk a little bit about your division. I mean, community services, what is that? You oversee a lot.
We oversee a lot. We are an externally focused customer service division, which includes all of the parks and the operations of the parks, all the libraries, youth sports programs, rental venues, like the Columbia County Exhibition Center, Savannah Rapids Pavilion, animal services out in Grovetown, and the Performing Arts Center that we're sitting here today.
So maybe just start with our Performing Arts Center. I mean, this was a big accomplishment in 2021 for Columbia County, and definitely the culmination of a lot of planning, a lot of dreams, and those sort of things. Turned out to be a beautiful building. We have a great staff here. We got a lot of events coming. So just talk about the opening of this building, kind of what's coming up.
Yeah, well, it opened in spring of this year, and if you think about the challenges of opening a building like this in itself in a normal year is quite an accomplishment, but to do it and have a successful schedule in the middle or on the heels of the pandemic was pretty impressive. So the staff has done a great job here working with partners to bring shows. The programming, the schedule of programs is anchored by, of course, the Broadway series. The first show was Anastasia, and then we hosted Fiddler on the Roof, and then there's two more shows after the new year into the spring, which are
Rent
and Cats.
Yeah.
Two shows of Cats back to back. So
yeah, that's gonna be fun.
We're happy with the first year of Broadway, and we've heard some names of sort of the next season, taking it up a notch for next year. So yeah, it's very successful first year here at the Performing Arts Center. We're looking forward to even a bigger 22.
And this is something brand new for Columbia County. I mean, obviously bringing in performing arts is something people have asked for a long time. But what about the things that people in Columbia County have come very accustomed to? You oversee all of our parks. So obviously Evans Town Center Park, which is close by, has been wildly successful, but also our active parks. So just talk a little bit about 2021 and kind of what's been going on with our parks. And
yeah, so we really saw an uptick on use of our parks coming off of the pandemic. One study has shown there's 50% more use of
people ready to get outside, right?
To get out and use trails and parks. So passive recreation has really been on an uptick, but our scheduled program, active athletics and stuff, has also seen an increase. And we had 6,000 youth sports registrants this year. We are the largest youth sports program in the state from one single agency. So
I didn't know that. That's pretty good.
6,000 participants, 500 teams, over 1,000 volunteers. So really a big operation. We've done a good job sort of investing in to parks and expanding our field space. So as that inventory has grown, we've been able to sort of grow programs, offer more programs. So we continue to push that forward.
And this past year we spent a lot of time planning. We have a new SPLOST coming up, and we're going to have some new parks in the new SPLOST if the voters approve that. So maybe talk a little bit about kind of what you have on the horizon for parks. What do we need more of?
Well, we're currently doing a study and a survey, seeing what people want. We've heard a little bit of everything, trails and athletic fields and indoor space. So we're trying to sort of hit on all those points with the new SPLOST coming forward. We want to do a large sort of tournament complex so we can attract more sports tourism to the area. We've done a good job of that with what we have out at Blanchard Woods so far, with the stadium hosting 3 soccer national championships this past year. So we want to continue to build off of that momentum from the sports tourism side. As well as trails, as I mentioned, people would like to see the expansion of the Greenway, and then more passive recreation. Playgrounds and splash pads have been very successful for us. So we look forward to expanding, renovating old aging parks. We have some needs at some of our existing parks, as well as building some new ones.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm really excited about the new Martinez Park that's going to tie itself into Blanchard Park. I can remember playing football at Blanchard Park when I was a really, really little kid, and that park's been around obviously a long time in Columbia County. But it needs a facelift, and we realize that. We're going to put some money there. But then this idea of maybe doing this Martinez Park to give us some access off Columbia Road. But then there's going to be some passive features in there too, right?
That's
The topo in that park described. That's going to be kind of unique.
It's a really unique setting with some old hardwood, sort of a wooded setting. So we want to maintain that natural setting throughout that park. There's going to be some walking trails, maybe a dog park, and then we want to try to incorporate some natural play areas that uses the natural landscape and some of the trees. So we've kicked around some ideas for that, but we really want that to be sort of a unique space, something that we don't have anywhere else. But
Yeah.
We're excited about that.
And then the last thing on the parks that I wanted to hit on, because we did purchase a piece of property in 2021 over on William Few Parkway, I guess at the extension of Hardy McManus, that area there. And we have 120 acres over there that we're going to be able to do a park, and we're already kind of starting to think about that. But talk a little bit about that park.
Initial ideas we have is to sort of take what we have at Gateway Park, which is a relatively new park, and sort of use that footprint and some of those ideas and some of those facets of that park out in the Riverwood area, which is a larger splash pad, playground, walking trail, passive use area. But we've talked about this before, the natural terrain of that park as well sets up really nice for some trails, some mountain bike trails. And we've sort of thrown that out there, and the response from the community for adding mountain bike trails out there has been strong. So we've seen a lot of excitement. A lot of volunteer groups have stepped up and said, "Hey, we want to be involved in this. Let us help you lay this out." And so I think we're onto something big there.
Yeah, great idea. And when Columbia County looks at one of these projects, we take everything into consideration, and you look at the park and how it's going to lay out. And I think all of our initial idea is that we would go out there and put some fields out there, and just make it like a traditional park. But with the amount of dirt we were going to have to move, it was going to cost us $1 million to fill in holes and gullies that if we could find a better use for naturally, and the mountain bike range and the trails just seem to be a perfect fit. So
and we're lucky enough we're in pretty good shape with the number of athletic fields that we have.
Right.
So we were able to make sort of that call on that, and we have more expanding into the next SPLOST. So while everyone says we probably need more soccer fields or more lacrosse fields, you can't have too many. We're in pretty good shape.
Tennis courts.
Tennis courts.
Need more tennis courts, pickleballs.
Yep.
Yep. So we're looking at all those things. So we know you oversee that, and I know you also oversee our rental venues and our libraries, and certainly our libraries get a ton of use. At one time, we had the largest circulation, I believe, in the southeast from right here, our library in Evans. So certainly those get a lot of use. But I did want to hit on one of your other departments, and that's animal services. I think that a lot of people misunderstand what animal services is in Columbia County, and I think you and your staff have done a really, really good job of turning that, I guess, the negative perception of the old animal control or the dog pound or whatever. You guys have really turned that around. So talk a little bit about our shelter and our staff out there, and kind of what's going on in animal services these days.
Yeah, so our animal services is sort of looked at around the state and even the region as one of the best. And it's because it's the way they practices the staff has put in place out there. We have not euthanized an animal for time or space in 7 years, I believe.
Almost 8 years now.
8 years.
Not a single animal for time and space. Right. And let's pause on that a second, because I think I want to make sure everybody that's watching hears that, because so many times I hear people say, or I may see something on social media where they say, "Hey, I found this puppy. I'm going to take it out to animal services," and somebody will immediately chime on there and say, "No, don't do that. They're going to put it to sleep." So that's not our practice. I mean, we don't euthanize animals for time, or we haven't euthanized animals for time and space in almost 8 years now. And we had a dog recently, I believe, that celebrated his 1 year anniversary at the shelter, and we did a big story on that, and that dog got adopted.
Right.
But we took good care of him for that 1 year,
right?
So yes, it's probably a little bit different than other places.
The stuff the staff does to make pets adoptable by the time the public comes in there, I think is the difference. There's outdoor space where customers or those looking to adopt animals come in and they can interact with the pet. They can bring their own pet from home and see how that interaction goes. So outdoor space, the staff has developed great partnerships with local vets where most of the animals we have are spayed and neutered prior to any adoptions. And so all that stuff makes animals more adoptable.
I think so too. And kind of just maybe wrapping it up with community events. I know we kind of talked about our parks and we talked about our active parks, maybe some of the passive parks, and certainly a lot going on at the PAC, but then community events themselves. I mean, it seems like every time I turn around, your staff is out somewhere on a Saturday or Sunday and we're doing something for the community, whether it's something for little kids, something for big kids or whatever. So maybe talk about some 2021 stuff for the community events.
Sure. We really had to focus on family events. And those have been our most popular. I think we had 52 community events this year. We brought one back called Food Truck Fridays, and it's by far been our most popular. And it's basically beer, barbecue, and live music. Of course, people were dying to see live music this year. So the first one we had in March just blew us away. So that's a free event. We fund those events off of sponsorships. So we're not using taxpayer dollars to put on those events. We try to raise enough sponsorships so we can make those events either free or very low cost. That's sort of our model. It's been successful. And we look to expand upon that in 22. For so long, all of our events were built around Evans and right here with the amphitheater here down by the library, but with the expansion of some of our parks, Gateway Park in particular, we've expanded our events. So we're now doing what we're doing out here with Food Truck Fridays. We're going to be doing that out in Grovetown this year, once a month. We've put Screen on the Green events out there. So we're really expanding our footprint with what we do with events. So yeah, very, very successful, a lot of fun. We have a great staff that works 7 days a week, very hard. And it's something that one of the things we're most proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. They're doing a great job. And I think, a lot of people live in Columbia County, or a lot of people that live in Columbia County, they always point to the quality of life, and I love living in Columbia County because there's so much to do and I feel safe and, we have good schools and we have all these other things. But going back to having so much to do, I mean, having your kids being involved in sporting programs that are really top notch and competitive, well, really, from being competitive to even the kid that has never done it, just have an opportunity to learn, right? And being able to use our facilities for whether you're playing tennis or whether you're just throwing the frisbee or using one of our dog parks or, walking on the trails of the Greenway. Really, there's a little something for everybody in Columbia County. I think your division has a lot to do with that. So
that's what we strive for. We strive for a high standard to maintain parks. We want people to be proud of parks. We're blessed doing what we do in Columbia County because we feel like the residents here really appreciate this type of stuff, and that you can't say that everywhere. So we take a lot of pride in being a big part of the identity of Columbia County.
Yeah, I agree, and you guys do a great job. Well, John, thank you so much for being with us. I think this is an important thing that we're doing. Certainly, we appreciate all of you tuning in and watching this, just finding out what happened in Columbia County in 2021 and getting a sneak peek of what's happening what's going to happen in Columbia County in 2022. And we look forward to you joining us in our next segment. Take care.